What are we talking about today?
What are we talking? Survived by his wife. Do you remember I showed you that bit?
What's his name?
Alan King.
Alan King. Survived by his wife.
Survive. If you haven't seen that bit, look it up. It's a great bit that he does. Survived by his wife. But I immediately thought of Alan King when you brought up this topic, because you said you have a lot of clients that are married, right?
A lot of clients that are married. Yes.
And more often than not, who is it that's concerned about?
The wives are probably concerned. They're just not voicing their feelings, but because they don't like to talk about the subject. But the husbands, more often than not, want to bring it up because they want to confirm that their spouse is going to be okay when they're gone. And so it's a topic that's been coming up lately, and I think it's because I've been in the industry for 16 years looking after families, and now they're getting older. CD Financial, where health meets wealth.
Welcome back to the CD Financial Podcast. CD Financial, where health meets wealth. I'm Marcus C., your host. That man across from me is Chuck D. Chuck, my man, how the heck are you?
Strong.
Baby. Love it.
Holding, keeping the faith.
Giddy up. Are you hitting the weights now? Is that why you're strong?
Not so much.
Not so much. Okay.
No, I took Isaac a couple weeks ago, but yeah, and that worked out. I was surprised I didn't get all seized up and tight. It's probably because I only did it after like an 8-week break. So I like going to the gym about every 5 to 6 weeks once. Yeah.
Okay.
I have him back to doing a set of pull-ups.
Okay,
before
good.
the dog.
Good.
Set of push-ups afterwards, but. Right now, I'm only producing 5 pull-ups.
All right.
I was up to 8.
Okay.
So I got to come back in there, baby.
We're gonna get you back in that gym regularly.
Done.
So you and Eyes were hitting the Planet Fitness? Is that the?
What's it called?
Not to get a plug.
Right.
If they want to sponsor us, we'll take them as a sponsor. But
the purple guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a whopping 3 minutes from the house. You just cascade down the hill.
Right.
If I had a bicycle, I could get there almost as fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just straight downhill. It's getting back up. That would be a problem. Yeah.
But Eyes Man loves that, doesn't he? He loves it.
I don't know, but he participates.
Okay.
I mean, I just have him in there. I think he knows he should.
Yeah.
And so he does. And sometimes that'd be a stretch.
Okay.
Because usually about, so we do groupings. I've decided at least. So we do 2 machines at a time.
Okay.
He does 2 sets on each one. I do 1, sometimes 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah, so I get like 70% of the workout he gets.
One of these days, I want to get in there with you guys. I want to hop in the gym.
We have like 4 groupings of 2 machines.
Yeah.
And then I loop in a leg extension for him. And then I'll do that too, 1 set. Yeah, so we get a little bit in there. Yeah, so that's what I got. I got these machines, and I've grown accustomed to them. So is he.
Yeah.
So yeah, that works out. I like that.
He works better with getting into a groove of a certain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. But sometimes he's been, like last time we went in, he was turning and trying to walk towards the door. And I'm like, dude, no way.
This is where the consistency helps, man. Every week you got to get him in there.
Every week. It was twice a week there for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It was too much. I got tight, man. I got sore. I got to go once a week for like 3 months, and my body will finally be adjusted. Then I'll start sneaking in twice a week. I got a friend who's like, you got to do 3 times a week. And I'm like, you're crazy, Tasha. I'm good.
So one of these days we'll discuss the science of exercise, because there's a lot of, and we can get into this in some other day, but there's people who believe 8 to 10 minutes a week is more than enough. Others, 15 minutes 2-3 times a week, you see a lot of growth. So we'll discuss. That's a topic for another day. But recently, Sharon and I were actually talking about Isaac and all the work that he's put in physically, right, to help him out. And we remember having that jungle gym in the basement over there in the monkey bars, and doing that with him, and doing the crawling with him, and jogging with him. That was a lot of fun. I miss all that. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed getting in there with Eyes.
Well, that was it. It was Monday through Saturday for me.
Yeah,
it was a lot.
Yeah,
yeah.
But you were.
I was.
You were like Arnold.
I wasn't like Arnold. No, I was running 3 miles a day, but at a slow pace because the boy wonder there, he was 6 years old, Jude then, and then Isaac was 8 when we were up to 3 miles a day.
Wow.
When we bounced to the West Coast.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about that this morning, actually. We lived just 3 doors down from Philly Pike, Route 13 in Delaware. I think it stretched on into in the PA because the border was, 5 minutes to Pennsylvania and Philly. And right across the street was Bellevue State Park. And I thought,
I remember that.
How could that have been set up any better than we would walk to the equestrian track?
Yep.
And it was 1.25 miles, and it was a dirt track, so it was nice. The impact was soft, and the walk to the track was beautiful.
Yeah.
You had stables and tennis courts and trees, and occasionally a fox would run by, and I mean it was beautiful. Little rolling hill.
I remember that. That was awesome.
There were geese that would land in there, and there was a big pond in the middle. Mm-hmm. I mean, how could I have had it any better for his program?
Right.
We would walk to the track, and that was our warm-up. Then we would start our 3 miles, which took us about 2 years to get to. And then we would walk back. It was great. And sometimes we would just take walks through the park, through the other trails. And I remember seeing a fox. It darted out, looked around. I was like, hey. And back in the
fabulous.
In the cover. Yeah, the fantastic Mr.
Fantastic. I missed that lineup. Yes.
There you go.
So he's fantastic.
Yeah. What are we talking about today?
What are we talking? Survived by his wife. Do you remember I showed you that bit?
What's his name?
Alan King.
Alan King. Survived by his wife.
Survive. If you haven't seen that bit, look it up. It's a great bit that he does. Survived by his wife. But I immediately thought of Alan King when you brought up this topic because you said you have a lot of clients that are married, right?
A lot of clients that are married, yes.
And more often than not, who is it that's concerned about?
The wives are probably concerned. They're just not voicing their feelings, but because they don't like to talk about the subject. But the husbands, more often than not, want to bring it up because they want to confirm that their spouse is going to be okay when they're gone. And so it's a topic that's been coming up lately, and I think it's because I've been in the industry for 16 years looking after families, and now they're getting older. And we've lost, I'm not happy to say it, but I'm happy that we're there for their surviving spouse, that since post-COVID, we've had a number of deaths, and this is common apparently in my industry.
Yep.
I just wasn't accustomed to it. And it's a privilege.
Yeah.
It really is to take care of people, but it's also, I didn't realize how much I was going to miss them. Yeah. I mean, I didn't.
Well, you're part of their life. I
am. And I really feel like I'm in a fiduciary role now.
Yeah.
Because I feel such a trust that they had in me because I hear them before they were gone talking to me, and I'm now working with the widows primarily, and it's a place of trust I've got, and I'm really hell bent on doing whatever I can to help them out.
Yeah.
I mean that when I say that.
Yeah, and it's a sobering responsibility, and one that I appreciate because doing this. We go way back on a personal level, you and I, but doing this, I get to see the professional level of you in the sense of this is your business, this is what you do, but it's more than a business. I mean, when you bring somebody in and you say, hey, I'm going to help you plan your retirement. We're going to do this plan for you. It's not just because I want to collect a check and move you on your way. It's because I want to see you and your family succeed for as long as possible and enjoy life, not just survive, but enjoy their retirement.
I don't want them to be worried. I want them to say, everything's okay. We've got you. We've got this all wrapped up. You're going to be just fine. And I have to say that a lot of times. You're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Munich, 94, by the way.
Munich, 94, yes,
sir.
Yeah,
late summer, fall. It was the fall of Munich,
It was fall, yes. It was October, 94.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah? Was it October?
It was October. We missed Oktoberfest because Oktoberfest is at the end of September.
Oh, then it was the fall of...
We just missed it.
94 Munich.
94, that's correct.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Since we've been knowing each other. Okay.
We were both 3 at the time, right? In case somebody's doing the math at the time. drinking beer at 3 years old together.
I was young
it was
and virile.
Great.
I was pretty big deal then. Like bull tiger.
Like bull. So survived by his wife. So that seems to be kind of a reoccurring concern, mostly with men, I think, because oftentimes, and you said you've seen this too, it seems like the men go first, and it's not just the Alan King bit.
I'm trying to think of the couples that has the wife gone first. No, I've had a single female pass away.
Yeah,
but no, that's it. She wasn't married. But most of the time so far, it's been the husband. Either way, we've got you.
Right.
We better have a plan.
So then the topic today, what happens? What happens when I'm gone? That's what we're going to be discussing.
Yes, because I've been on the other end on Zoom, and they're asking me this. And I said, we've done everything. Believe me when I tell you, we have positioned you in a very fine manner that if you pass away, your spouse is going to be taken care of. One of the big things we do is the tax planning. That's huge because if we get you to a point, let's say we're a half or 2/3 of your portfolio is tax-free. Well, I've talked about this before. If you pass away, that first year, you can file. The year you pass away, you can file as married, filing jointly. After that, that's it.
Yep.
You're in a horrible tax bracket. Yep. So I can look at the families that I serve and say, guess what? Because you've cooperated all these years, we've got a tax plan that's got, half, 2/3, we're on the road, maybe 90% of your money is in Roth IRA, and there's not one penny of tax money in there. Okay. So every time your widow goes to pull out monthly income from your retirement accounts, it's tax-free.
Yeah.
That's so empowering.
It means a lot.
Yeah, because Social Security is taxable. Your federal pension or any pension that you have, if you've elected a survivor benefit for your spouse, that's taxable. Most folks and most planning firms, I don't see this happening. And because of that, when you pull money from your retirement accounts, most of the time it's IRA, 401k, TSP money, it's taxable. This is not if you follow the tax planning.
Right.
If it's in a Roth, it's tax-free. It takes time. It takes stick-to-itiveness, follow-through.
Yeah.
Lots of follow-through.
Yeah. We started out talking about exercise right today.
Right. Yeah, we did, didn't we?
And consistency in exercise, it's the same thing, right? It's not about that one big workout you do. It's about hitting it every week.
It's not about one big workout.
And getting
it's about a bunch of small ones.
Yes.
I mean, we're in and out 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, some people listening would say, you should be warming up. You should get on the cycle. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't fit into my lifestyle. And that's probably why I get a little tight, right? Or I get sore. But I try to go to the sauna afterwards, or I lay on my electric mat.
Yep.
We talked about that as a health tip before. My electromagnetic.
I don't know if we've got it. Maybe we need to.
That thing.
Let's table that because I'd love to.
I do that when I'm watching football, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or anything TV. I'm like, okay, I'll watch TV now because I'm still getting something out here.
You're doing something good for you.
I'm laying down on the floor, but I'm getting my electromat thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we dive deep, because I kind of want to drill into some specifics, because we're talking about survivor, right? Husband passes away. Now we have the family concerns. Just in general terms, you've already mentioned tax planning.
Spouse passes away.
Right. Spouse passes away. So other than tax planning, what are some general things you need to start looking at before the time comes?
Well, that's why we want both of the mates there for the planning sessions. Now, we're also realists and pragmatic.
Right.
Oftentimes, there's one spouse, if not 90% of the time, that is the lead in the financial matters. And so that's the one that's always present. But it really helps when both mates are there. And you don't have to pay that much attention, the mate that's not involved in the financial decisions all the time, but at least it's penetrating with your presence there. So when we start the planning process, we want to have all team members, let's say. Yeah, both mates there for this, because it's really, really important that you understand what happens when your mate is gone. That's the question. What's going to happen to my spouse when I'm gone?
And that's a good note, because generally speaking, I'm guessing a little bit here, but for the most part, generally speaking, in a couple, there's one who's a money person, one who's not, right?
Typically, yeah. I think our family was unusual because we both were. But my wife was, believe it or not, years ago when we were newlyweds, was the spark to get us to start our own 401ks, which we shouldn't have had. We should have had SEP IRAs. Mm-hmm. But the advisor didn't know. Yeah. And that's the way it goes. So yeah, we did get something going. I was grateful for that. And that spark was my wife, but then I'm embedded now. And so I take over. So now it's two heads are better than one, and a threefold cord cannot quickly be torn in two. It's biblical with God in our lives and Mom and I. Yeah. It works out great, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So it's nice. Get everybody involved, get them all in on the decision making. What about, now we can kind of get into this topic too as part of this, but would you advise, or do you have the dependents or kids also as part of the discussion? I mean, oftentimes people retire, their kids are adults, right? They're not.
No, that's right. Yeah, they're grown and they have their own kids more often than not, a lot of the times. So I really like it when they start involving the next generation, because there's no mystery, and then the kids aren't over concerned when dad does go.
Right.
Maybe mom too, but they're not over concerned about it because they say, wait. No, I know Charles. We know the team at CD Financial. They've got a plan in place. I really like it when they involve the kids. Does it happen? Not as much as I like it to.
Yeah.
But I really like it when they do involve the kids, because then everybody sighs. Because I've got somebody that I work with right now, and the kids aren't involved. She defers to her brother because her husband's gone. And he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And so she's locked up. He says, don't do anything. Don't change anything. That's his advice. And it's poor. It's poor advice. And he's not around for her, right? So slowly but surely over the last couple years, 3 years now, she's starting to loosen up, and she's realizing, wait a minute, Charles is the one with the advice here, right? Otherwise, people get fearful, and I don't want that.
Right.
If you know what the plan is, right, then everything's going to be okay, and you don't have to be fearful.
Right. Operating out of a place of fear is never good, especially when you're talking about money. You tend to make bad decisions when you're afraid. Well, that's good then. So the kids' family should be, that's assuming that everybody is still getting along, and, but you. That's
right, yeah.
Yeah, the kids should be involved with the parents. And
now some families are private about their money.
Yeah.
Some people are private about their money. I'm relatively private. Angie's a little more open than me about that, surprisingly enough. But I could be open. I just want to make sure that my kids are, Jude's really discreet, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Isaac's nonverbal, so that helps. I just want them to be able to absorb it without thinking that, that's just a lot, right?
Yeah. We've seen that. We've seen that with my folks.
But I mean, like, even the retirement accounts, right? Are they ready for that, right? Because they might think that we're loaded, and it's not. It's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with the youngest, with Sophia, already I see she talks about it. It's like, really, it's like, and I always tell her, I go, wealth is relative. People throw that word rich around, and it's like, that's relative.
Yeah.
Right. Depends on your viewpoint.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like Shaquille O'Neal says about his kids, that he wants them to earn their own way, because he reminds them they're not rich, their dad is rich. Either way, though, it's a good idea. Have the kids on board.
Yes, it is. It's a really smart idea. Because if we were a lot older, right, too, then it would be like, I want them to know exactly where everything is, right? Yeah. And we have this form. You've not seen it before, but it's a stop sign. Mm-hmm. And right in the middle of the page, it has a red stop sign. And it has the signature of mom and dad with the date. And it says, and it's slid inside some of their financial instruments, and it says, stop. If your mom and dad are gone, call this number. This is the email. This is the address. This is who you asked for. And that's so they awesome. Know, right?
Yeah.
I had a single man who passed away, no kids, in Arizona, and his brother from out of state, who's not in Arizona, called me, and he said, I think you're the guy because your name's all over everything. Yeah. And he was out of Texas. Yeah. And I go, did he? I was like, oh, he was a nice guy too, and passed way too young. Yeah. And I said, you're right about that. I'm the guy. Yeah, I can tell you where everything is because we have a whole list, right? We keep it in the written retirement income plan, that chartered retirement course, the CRC. Right. It's there. We even the bank accounts, CDs, everything. You got everything in line. Rental properties, whatever. What the balance of mortgages are, blah 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 blah. Yeah. It's essential so that if you are gone, it's a matter of a one call almost. Yep. Right? Yeah.
And I think the other thing too that I don't think this gets enough attention. It's a nice legacy, and I'm not just talking about leaving money to your kids. It's a nice legacy to leave them the example of being responsible with your finances. And sometimes it's when kids see mom and dad have everything together.
Yes.
That little light bulb goes on, right, for them, and organized. They say, oh, you know what? Maybe it's time I need to start thinking about this. Because if mom and dad are in their 60s, 70s, the kids are still young enough where probably not paying too much attention to financial planning for the most part. And I'm speaking in generalizations here, but it's still happy times. You're in your 30s and 40s. You're still good health and living large and working and
educate everybody.
Yeah. So that legacy, not just of an inheritance, but of the example of financial planning. I think it's very important.
Yeah,
that's a good call.
That's why the 401k at work.
Yeah.
When you're young, at 20 years old. Yeah. 21, 22 now. My one son and the juvenile Ross. Nice. Those are really important. You start to fund them and they get involved with it. Yeah. Okay. Good. So now go ahead. Let's advance in this.
Okay. Yes. So this is good. That's a nice little thing, but we're going to change directions a little bit. Talk about insurance, health insurance and things. What happens with that?
So if you're a federal employee and you pass away and you had to have elected some form of survivor benefit, then your spouse can continue the federal employee health benefit. FEHB is the acronym. Okay. But that's that's hinged on if your spouse got survivor benefit. If they bought at least a 25% survivor benefit, that's the minimum. Then that means that if you had a $3,000 pension, your spouse will get $750. Or a 50% survivor benefit. That means they get half, right? Right. Yeah. So if they get that, then they can continue the health insurance. Okay. And your spouse had to be on it too, right? On your health insurance. Then they can continue it. If you weren't on their health insurance and they passed, there was no survivor benefit elected and they passed away, then you can't continue that health insurance from the Fed. It doesn't mean you're destitute. You still have access to Medicare Part B and a supplement to Medicare if you want.
Right. Yeah. And in your experience, more often than not, people miss that, or do you think?
More often than not, okay, so that's an interesting question. If their spouse is on the federal health insurance, most of the time, 3 out of 4 times, I'm going to see at least a 25% survivor benefit. Okay. Most of the time. I deal with a lot of folks that also have TRICARE, so they don't even have federal employee health benefit. Okay. Because they're retired military previous to this second career of federal service. So they do a double government job, basically. And so they don't have to worry about it. They get TRICARE for life at 65. It's free. Then they buy the Medicare Part B. Okay. So, yeah. So it's a loaded question.
Yeah. No, I know there's a lot more to that, but
there's the health insurance. Right. Got to have a survivor benefit to keep your federal health insurance. Okay. TRICARE, you're okay. If your spouse is on that, they continue even if you're gone. There's also life insurance. Okay. Okay, so most federal employees had basic group life insurance, and most all of them did at least. They kept 25%. They elected a 75% reduction of their basic group life, which was basically what they made while working. And then that basic group life, which was basically what they made while working, it'll be worth 25% of what it was worth. It reduces from 65 to 69. Okay. Yeah, so they're gonna have a death benefit. They've got to get hold of OPM. It's one of the places they need to reach out to. When their spouse passes away, their immediate response would be to contact OPM,
okay,
Office of Personnel Management. Then they should contact Social Security.
Okay, because I was going to get into Social Security. What do they need to know about Social Security?
They need to contact them.
Okay.
Because they'll be able to elect the greater of the two benefits.
Okay.
They're going to drop the lesser of the two. And typically in the scenario we don't know really what typical is anymore. Yeah. But just go with the greater amount. It used to be that it was automatic. Social Security would just give the widow or the widower the greater amount, but now you have to elect it.
You have to go talk to them about it.
Yeah, you have to go talk to them about it. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're living with your former mate, which I've been running into a lot lately.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody you were divorced from and now you got back together again, but you didn't marry, and that mate dies and you obviously didn't remarry, and you were married at least 10 years, you can file a spousal benefit on your ex-spouse, a widow's benefit on your ex-spouse.
Interesting.
Yeah. While delaying your own. You might be delaying your own. I don't know. Yeah, it depends if they passed away young or not. That's a Social Security subject.
Right.
So we better stay with the course here.
Yep.
Yeah. Married couples.
Important thing, talk to Social Security.
Talk to Social Security, absolutely. And you want the greater of the two benefits, obviously, right? If you kept any money at TSP, you got to inform TSP. They're going to have a death benefit form for you to fill out as well. So everything will generate. If you've made a plan with a financial firm, hopefully it's with a fiduciary that's federally trained, then you want to come to your financial office and inform them that your spouse has passed away, because they're going to have to process death benefit claim forms with your IRAs, your Roth IRAs, your stock trading accounts. Maybe you have life insurance with your financial advisory firm.
Right.
They need to get all those things started and going.
So I'm glad you brought that up, the different accounts and different investments, because before, when we were discussing this, you mentioned the importance of getting multiple copies of death certificates, but not just that, but also...
I didn't, but you just brought it up, and thank you.
Yes, but also having names on accounts, right?
Oh, yeah. So
let's talk about those two things.
Sure. So don't get one death certificate. Typically, people get 10. Right? If they don't know what to get, somebody must be telling them out there, probably the funeral director, what have you. Get 10. I see 8 to 10 is a typical amount. If you need more, you can order more.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
For the most part, we only need a copy. Sometimes they ask, institutions ask us for an original. Not too often. It's pretty rare. So typically, if we have one original, we'll make a copy of it, and whoever asks for the original, we'll send that off, but we have the copies.
Okay.
So that's all we need typically. You need a death certificate, though.
Okay.
More importantly, you need to understand what the plan is, though. So you need to know, okay, this is where I was getting income from with my spouse. So that income will continue. That won't stop, right? That income should continue. Yeah, your Social Security, you were collecting 2 payments. Now you may only be collecting 1. Your pension went from, the 100% of it. Now you might only be getting half. Right? But yeah. But maybe you're the one who gets the pension. So you're only going to be losing maybe the Social Security payment, right? But you need to understand where those payments are coming from. And now you need to have your fiduciary or your financial firm work up a new plan. Now that there's only one person in that, we call it that chartered retirement course, the CRC.
Right.
Yeah. That what your course is. We've charted it out for you. We'll make a new one, and it'll have the new appropriate amounts for your Social Security, for your pension, and we maintain those income sources from your retirement accounts. Is it enough? And we can test it now and say, okay, these are the adjustments we have to make. Those are the adjustments we have to make. And so you might be just fine. You might need to increase the amount that you have. You might not need as much. We don't know. But we have the plan in place.
Right. And that's the importance, just kind of highlighting the importance of what we discussed kind of to start when we're talking about dependents, getting everybody involved, right? Because you don't want it to be a surprise. One person dies and then the other person's trying to feel their way through this.
That's right.
It's much better if they already know the plan and know how we're going to adapt now that somebody has passed on.
That's right. Oh, and if you have accounts, a lot of couples have his and hers banking accounts, right? Make sure that you have the beneficiary at least named on there. Okay. In Todd or Pod.
Okay.
Todd is transfer on death. Right. Pod is payable on death. It's the same meaning.
Okay.
Right? So in your bank accounts, make sure that you have those named. And if you have an automobile, things like that, you might want to have a joint ownership of that.
Okay.
So there's no issue there as well.
Okay. So the other person just takes it over. They doesn't have to worry about going to probate or anything like that, right?
They just keep, right. And if it wasn't arranged that way, just keep driving the car till the wheels fall off.
Absolutely.
There you go.
That's my philosophy with cars. I drive until they don't drive anymore.
Yeah. Now, we had an episode on death benefits as a Fed as well. So if you need to access that, just go ahead and click here, and you're going to get that episode on death benefits for a federal employee or a federal retiree right there.
Right.
While working and on into retirement.
Right.
So I wanted to mention that.
Yeah, a little deeper dive. I mean, what we're doing here is just kind of a broad strokes, right? Broad strokes. If one person passed away, and that's the concern, right? Most husbands are thinking, I'm going first, so I want to make sure everybody's taken care of in the family.
That's right. So where are the sources of income going to come from? Right. And don't forget, too, life insurance, like a Roth IRA, every dollar, tax-free.
Yeah.
So that's always a relief when that money comes, and hopefully comes sooner than later.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's so many things to think about when your mate passes on. There's so many things you want to be able to focus on. Money, you don't want to have to. Right, you want to have already have that in place, because family and the kids and the grandkids and everybody else involved, that's going to take first place. Having said that, you need a fiduciary on your side that's going to help you with this plan, so you don't have to worry about the money stuff.
That's right. Because there's all kinds of nuances. If the spouse is much younger, let's say they're younger than 59 and a half, they have to keep an inherited IRA, because if they get or an inherited TSP, if they get a IRA in their own name, they'll be subject to the tax penalty for withdrawing before 59 and a half.
Really? Yeah.
You remember how much that is?
I did until a few minutes ago.
10%.
10%, yes.
10% for early withdrawal. So there's little landmines that you got to avoid when you're taking over. And I've seen mistakes from various financial planning firms in the past. And they're more common than you'd think.
Oh.
Yeah.
What else? If we're discussing the topic of survived by his wife, right? What else do you think that somebody
work
needs
up your monthly expenses? I mean, that's what we're going to do. We're going to work up the monthly expenses, and we're going to get that plan now that we have the new numbers. So I think we talked about it already.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How much is your Social Security now? How much is that your pensions? What was the income beforehand? We should be able to maintain that, possibly even increase it, and see what those numbers look like.
Yeah.
Right? We've done everything we can possibly to set up the entire family for success moving forward. We've always been doing that. We always will.
Right.
There's no reason why we're ever going to veer from that course. As fiduciaries and as trusted partners in your retirement, we want to have nothing but success for you.
Right. And that's
everybody's got to
awesome,
succeed together. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. We all win together.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not just a cliche. Yeah. If you're constantly winning, it's going to be found out. People aren't going to like it, and they're going to want to go away. But if the families are winning, and we as a firm are winning, it's got to be a symbiotic relationship, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it can't be a win one-sided. It's got to be a bilateral, right? Yeah, win all the way around.
Yep. And we always hope everybody lives forever, but having said that, the reality of this world is we have to face these topics, and better to face them with time and with everybody involved. And that way, when one person passes away, there's a plan in place. You're cared for. You can focus on the more important things. Family is always going to be the most important thing.
Amen.
So take care of that.
Yeah.
All right. So having said that, are you ready for a health tip?
I'm ready for a health tip.
Okay.
Sure. So, what do you got?
Well, we discuss a lot on these episodes, right? Health tips, physical health tips, but I want to get more into some of the mental health tips. And I heard something recently talked about, and I wanted to throw it out there because I think it's very important for mental health to be reasonable with yourself Yes, reasonable with others around you, true, but reasonable with yourself. And what do I mean by that? We have firm things in place that we like and that we expect of ourselves. But as the years go by, we change, our limitations change, and therefore our expectations should change. And it's not to say we shouldn't have goals or have high expectations or striving for things. It just means be reasonable. Don't beat yourself up if you can't do exactly what you did 10 years before, or maybe if you don't accomplish exactly what you wanted to do. If you're moving in that direction, there's still success there to be measured. I don't know if you've noticed that with your life.
I've had to ratchet back.
Yeah.
Right. I've had to ratchet back. My back won't take as much as it used to.
Yeah.
When it comes to physical work, right? And so I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Right. So it is what it is. Right. I've got a chiropractor next door. I go see her. Right.
How convenient.
$65 I spend.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's convenient. She takes me whenever I see her open.
That's awesome.
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Saturdays.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, look, you got to be modest, right?
Exactly.
I can't drink 4 or 5 drinks anymore either.
Yeah.
Nor do I need to,
Yeah.
right? I don't think I did when I was young. Think back when I was a newlywed. Maybe 3, maybe. Martinis were big back then.
Right.
Right? I mean, they were actually big. What I mean is they were large, the martinis. And they were big thing to drink back then too. But now a couple of drinks, I'm good. That's it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Right? I'm happy. I'm full of joy. If it's a banquet or a wedding, it's 3 hours. Yeah, then you can have a drink an hour, right?
Yeah.
But I just listen to my body. That's what you got to do when you're modest.
I love that.
You make adjustments, right? Yeah, listen to your body. It's going to tell you what to do.
Listen to your body and be reasonable with expectations. We can crush ourselves under the weight of expectations. I've been guilty of this. This is one of those things that I work on. Absolutely. Sharon tells me all the time. She's like, you have to be reasonable with what you expect. Because, as much as I'd like to believe I'm still 25, I'm not, right? And that applies mentally, that applies physically, that applies with the responsibilities that I face now. You're 25, you don't have responsibilities. You get out of bed, you go to work, that's it. That's about it, right? But, now caring for a wife, caring for folks, caring for in-laws, all these things are part of it. And if you just mount expectations on yourself, and I am guilty of this. This is something I constantly work on. But you can kill yourself, whereas if you're reasonable and you just understand, hey, you know what? Today this gets done, this won't get done. And that's okay. Tomorrow we'll get this done, right? That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. So be reasonable with yourself. Sometimes it's okay to say, hey,
take the wins.
Can't do it. Absolutely.
Look at the stuff you did.
Absolutely.
Not the stuff you didn't do, right?
Absolutely.
What? The glass is half full, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, you're above ground. You're waking up every day. You're breathing, right? You're smiling. You got a roof over your head. What's it? Three slops and a flop?
I like that. 3 slops and a flop.
Robert, he was my first business partner here on the West Coast in this financial arena. His dad was ex-military, special forces or ops or something, and he said it all the time, right? Hey, you got 3 slops and a flop. What are you complaining about?
What else do you want?
Right?
You're winning in life.
You're winning. You're way ahead.
I knew this regular at a coffee shop I frequented, and I'd ask him how he's doing. He goes, "Well, another day on the right side of the grass." So
that's right. You told me that before.
Yeah. So if that's a good thing. We're upright. We're moving forward. That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's right. Be grateful.
Absolutely.
Look, it's in your outlook. It's just like if you've lost your spouse. We were talking about that for 25, 30 minutes.
Yep.
If you lost your spouse, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
We've done everything we could, and you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody yet that's been left destitute.
Yeah.
Everything's going to work out. You're going to be all right.
Yeah.
We're going to take care of you. Yeah. That's what I want you to know. Don't worry about a thing. Just go in and say, this is a new chapter in my life. Yeah, you might not be prepared for everything. It's going to be a discovery. It is without your mate. Yeah. But it's okay. You're on a journey, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you need a day to cry, take a day to cry. It's all right.
All the time you break down in the office or on Zoom, okay. I don't care. I might cry with you. I have often. Yeah.
Sometimes laying in bed and crying and just having a day to yourself, that's a win.
Yeah.
And you got to be reasonable and accept that that's part of the process.
That's it, man.
I love that.
And I'll say something else too. Mm-hmm. We said that one mate is typically the one that handles the finances.
Yeah.
We make a simple 1-pager for the other mate, and it's there. Just say, break it down to me simply.
Love it.
And we do that. We say, this is what you have. This is the income you can generate from it. It'll be really easy and simple.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, I think we can put a bow on it there. I appreciate that. Appreciate the topics. Topics like this really hit home as we age, right? We all age, and it really hits home. And it's good to talk about this stuff, even though sometimes it's hard. So I appreciate the insight. And remember to be reasonable. We're all humans, right? We're all imperfect humans, and we're going to make some mistakes along the way. So be reasonable with yourself for your own mental health. Well, we thank you as always for joining us here on the CD Financial Podcast. CD Financial, where health meets wealth. We always encourage you to click on the button down below, subscribe to these podcasts. You'll get them right away as soon as they come out. Also, with that link, you can contact CD Financial directly. Set something up. If you don't have a fiduciary in your life that's helping you with a plan for retirement, to plan for these things, get someone on your side. Talk to CD Financial and find out what we can do for you. We appreciate you as always. Chuck, my man, always a pleasure, brother. Thank you very much for your time. And folks, thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you next time.
All right, looking forward to it. Be well.
Bye-bye now. CD Financial, where health meets wealth.